Welcome, everyone. It's a very exciting day today, and I'm quite happy to still have you in the room, because I can imagine it's getting late, so we have some nice information for you, and I want to introduce inNOWvate. As a company, we produce carpet tile, which is not a product that probably a lot of you thought that's something I want to do after I graduate. I can tell you some really exciting things about it. Eline Oudenbroek, I work with inNOWvate for 3 years now. I'm the Vice President Supply Chain and Operations for the EMEA region. I'm a chemical engineer, and when Martijn said we're going to talk about innovation in supply chain, love to tell you more about it. First, about inNOWvate. We are a world-leading manufacturing of sustainable flooring, and sustainable in our story really means something. So we make carpet tile, LVT, and rubber. LVT is the more vinyl floors. We are a pioneer in sustainability for almost 30 years now. We started in '94 to think about a sustainable product, and a product that would not make the earth get worse. And in that time, I can assure you, nobody was talking about that. So that's why I joined the company. Of course, dedicated to performance. You see some yarn, that's the raw materials that we use most. Yarn to produce carpets. To look a bit further, we're listed at NASDAQ, so we're not a startup. We are there for 50 years already. NASDAQ is quite hard if you're there, because all the shareholders, of course, need to see progress. So it's something to keep in mind with everything you do, all the money that you invest. We have almost over 3,600 employees. We sell in 100 countries. We have six manufacturing sites, while I'm responsible for 2, one in the Netherlands, one in Northern Ireland. We are in Australia, in China, and in the US. And we have a revenue of $1.2 billion. What we started in '94 was climbing Mount Sustainability. And if you want to know a bit more, you can look at our website, and that's going to be explained. But we defined 7 steps to go to the summit, and we set ourselves a goal. And that goal was first Mission Zero. In 25 years, so that was starting in '94, in 1919, or 2019, we wanted to be reached our Mission Zero. That means no bad influence on the earth. We wanted to have carbon neutral products, and we wanted to look into our supply chain and not make the earth degrade. And then when we almost got there, we said, well, now we are gonna have a new mission, Climate Takeback. Climate Takeback started in 2019, and that means that we actively want to improve the earth. So we do not only want to be carbon neutral, we want to be carbon negative. And we set our goal in 2040. So we reached our Mission Zero goal. And now we are working with this vision. It's the Climate Takeback mission, where we live zero. That's our former mission. So we do not want to send any CO2 into the atmosphere. We love carbon. We use carbon, CO2, as a building block. We let nature cool. That means that we're looking at factories as a forest and design our factories as if they were forests, and do not make waste and reuse materials, and lead the industrial revolution. That means we want to take our whole supply chain with us. We learned so much, we want to share that with our supply chain. And then you see our sustainability journey, where in the end, in 2040, we want to be a carbon negative company, and that means without offsets. Quite a hairy goal, and we do use a lot of innovation, of course, to get there. There's some rewards that we win, but worldwide, as a business-to-business company, we are in the top of the sustainability, the most sustainable companies, and we are there for almost 30 years now. So looking at supply chain, regeneration through innovation, That means first, in 1994, we were like all other industries. We had a scattered supply chain, and we did take, make, waste. We used a lot of petrol-based raw materials. And over our Mission Zero times, we brought that to a more bio-based materials, but also a more integrated supply chain. Whilst now, beyond 2020, we have a goal to become a carbon negative enterprise. And that also means a lot for our supply chain. So low carbon products and a supply chain that learns from each other and works with each other to reach that goal. Of course, we had a life cycle assessment. Where does our carbon come from? Raw materials, of course, being the highest percentage. Data showed you where you can play. Manufacturing, only 4%, because that's in our reach. We did 30 years of experience in reducing that carbon impact. Transport, of course, a bit. And then use and maintenance, so that's our customers. And then end of life also has some carbon impact. So where we want to play is with our suppliers, raw materials, scope 3, and the use, our customers, how to use that carpet, reuse that carpet, keep it around for as long as the lifetime of that product works for you. As I said, we want to be a carbon neutral enterprise, not going into that, but how would nature produce carpet tile? That was the start, is the start of all that we try to do in innovation. So we want to use less raw materials, we use more recycled materials, and we find alternative bio-based materials. And then you come to our innovation program, carbon negative materials, bio-based materials. So we sequester carbon through using regrowable products, and we build our product, we make our product from that raw materials. We work with innovative suppliers, and also they produce bio-based materials and have very low carbon shipping procedures, and then we're looking at all kinds of transportation. Redesigned our products with different materials. I'll show you a bit about that later. Renewable energy, of course, but that's an easy one because it's all subsidized, but also ready for the next step at the moment. So we have a very sustainable manufacturing, and we came to our CO2 negative carpet tile. That means we sequester more carbon in our tiles than we use to produce them. So that's cradle to gate. Next step, of course, is that our customers do not do anything with that carpet tile. We need to bring back that carpet tile for reuse or recycle or repurpose. So that's the next step for us to keep that carbon sequestered in our tiles, in our products, and learn our supply chain how they can work with us to do the same thing. So from the 1990s until now, we have products, about 30 different products that are carbon negative. The rest is all carbon neutral. So this is a carpet tile. If you pull it all apart, it's quite an ingenious product. We have the carbon footprint reduced by 30%. We overall have 88% recycled and bio-based materials, so there's still 12% to go. We design for reuse and recycling. So from the start, we think about you want to have that product stick really well together. If you want a 15-year lifetime in your office and you have your chair rolling over the carpet, you want to have a nice product after 15 years as well. But when you get the product back, you want to disassemble that because yarn and bio-backing are completely different raw materials again. So some challenges. And of course, we want to bring it to the whole European portfolio. And worldwide, we now have only carbon neutral products. Not going with you through this, but of course, we start with refuse. If you look at the recyclability of the the linear economy, going to the circular economy, refuse that we do not want any oil-based raw materials anymore, and we hardly have. And then, of course, we do a lot of reuse. Repair doesn't work for us, but repurpose certainly does, and then we recycle. And last step only would be to recover and incinerate. So the next action is setting a science-based target. So we did, and we're proud to work on that. And as far as I can see, we will reach our target in 2030 to reduce 50% of our CO2 in raw materials, working with our supply chain and our product design. So 2030 for us is a year that we say 50% must be reused. 2040, the whole company would be carbon negative. Then we asked our founder, because I think one thing is important: if you have a mission that is so challenging as the one that we have, you need to have one person with a vision, and that was our former owner, Ray Anderson. You can watch a lot of YouTube videos from Ray Anderson. He used to be our owner. He died 10 years ago, and just before that, he was asked, how do you think that the future will look like? And he answered this. In the next 2 minutes, I wanted to share his vision with you guys.
Sam, you asked me to comment on the future and what I think it holds for humankind. That suggests that I have some sort of crystal ball, which I don't. But I imagine my guess is about as good as anyone else's. So here's my guess. I expect the living systems of Earth to continue to decline until about 2030. I expect atmospheric concentration of CO2 as represented by the Keeling curve, the continuous tracking of atmospheric CO2 at the top of Mount Mauna Loa in Hawaii, to continue its upward trend until about 2030. Therefore, I expect global warming to intensify beyond 2030 as momentum in the system dissipates. I expect global population to continue to grow at its present rate until about 2030. What, you ask, do I think is going to happen in 2030? I could be off by a decade, but along about 2030 or 2040, a new generation of managers is going to take the reins of business. A generation that already gets it and is chomping at the bit to get into the game. With new focus on what is truly important, new companies, new smart inventions, a new generation of entrepreneurs in management will begin to put the industrial system on a more benign path and move it toward sustainability. In other words, we will see the coevolution of two of our most powerful institutions coming to fruition in an accelerating trend toward sustainability. Those are the institutions of education and business and industry. This coevolution is already happening, but it has a way to go yet until the 20-somethings become 40 or 50-somethings.
So what Ray actually says is, there's two things, education and industry, and they both will work beyond 2030 to regenerate the Earth and come up with solutions. So that's our mission. That's where we are still striving for. Thanks for your attention.